Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're taping here at the Hollywood Museum, and it's in the famous historic Max Factor building on Highland Avenue in the heart of Hollywood. And our guests today are director, author Stephen Sachs and actress Amberlee Colson. Award-winning playwright, director, co-artistic director of the Fountain Theater, which is just down the street from the Hollywood Museum, was born in Northern California and raised in Southern California. He went to Agoura High School and the LA City College Theater Academy. So were you interested in theater when you went to high school?
I was. In fact, that's sort of where this whole spark began. It's all because of a theater teacher that I had at Agoura High School.
I love it when they talk about their mentors, and it all goes back to a teacher.
It does. I mean, I think that's true for so many of us, that we always had that one magic teacher that changed our life and turned our lives around.
And nothing before Agoura High School? Not in the family or anything?
Not in the family. My father was a newsman, was a journalist with CBS News.
Oh, cool.
That was in the Walter Cronkite era and all of that. So he was a very serious.
Which is not what you are.
No.
Oh, so that's interesting.
Yeah. But I was always sort of interested in doing plays when I was younger, but it was when I walked into the classroom of this magical person who just turned my life around, and his name is Jim Gilchrist.
Isn't that great? And you always remember the names. My math teacher, I remember because she opened up algebra to me. It was like somebody just put a key.
Exactly.
And opened it up.
And the door opens.
Right.
Exactly. And your life has changed forever.
Right,
and he just made us all believe that being in the theater was somehow this extraordinary vocation, and that anyone who was not involved in the theater was somehow, lesser than, and they didn't quite understand life as we knew it. But he was full of passion and love.
Was he a writer?
No.
Was he an actor?
He was a director. And a teacher. He was a teacher. He was really gifted in that way.
But I wondered, did he want to be an actor? Was that the...
Not really.
Wanted to always teach?
He taught for a very, very long time. And in fact, he's now retired. And we all went to his retirement party, and there were like hundreds or thousands of students who showed up, whose lives he had changed. It's a wonderful life. It's like the entire community came to celebrate this man.
And that was here.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So here you are. Were you going to be an actor when you finished
high
school?
I went. Then I went to LA City College Theater Academy, and I was going to be an actor. I studied to be an actor, and I was an actor for about 10 years. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
And then you decided to co-found a theater.
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, I was part of a theater company here in Los Angeles as an actor. And I decided to just direct a play and kind of liked it and discovered that I was pretty good at it, and then was told that they needed some help in the office at the theater organization where I was at, and just for a few weeks, they said. And I said, well, I'll go in for a few weeks just to help out. Well, I went in there and ended up staying in the office there for years.
For years?
Yeah, and ended up, the theater manager and running the organization.
Oh, you're kidding.
And that's
great.
Yeah, that was the Ensemble Studio Theater here in Los Angeles.
Oh, it was very good.
Yeah.
So you just fell into this.
It just kind of happened. Again, doors opening.
Exactly.
And then I went to the Cannon Theater in Beverly Hills.
Of course, we
with,
love that theater.
Joan Stein and Susie Dietz, and we did like love letters forever.
Oh, did you work with
Yeah,
them?
I
You
was there for
produced and
that
directed?
for about. I didn't direct. I was a manager there at the theater.
Oh, you
and-
were managing
Yeah,
there.
for almost 2 years.
Oh,
about
I
a year
love
and a half.
that theater. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry it was gone.
It's gone now. I know.
So you founded this theater how many years ago? Long.
26 years.
And
The
with
Fountain.
Deborah Lawler.
Right.
And are you still friends?
We are. We're still speaking. Yeah.
But I mean, that's pretty good.
It's pretty extraordinary, especially
Yeah.
in L.A. Yeah. She called me out of the blue. Deborah Lawler was an independent theater producer at the time.
Oh, she was too.
Yeah,
I see.
and she called, and it's kind of interesting. She called me and said that she had just recently had this very serious car accident in New York State. And when she was laying in the hospital, she said to herself, if I survive this accident, I'm going to start my own theater company.
Oh, thank you,
And
God.
so thank
right?
God she survived. and so she picked up the phone. She knew who I was and said, if I do this, will you run it with me?
And
I
so
said
did you
yes.
Fountain on Fountain?
Yeah.
That's
So-
the building you started in?
That's right. We kind of began shopping for buildings, and then as soon as, again, the door opened on Fountain Avenue, we just knew that we were home. There was,
Did you build the theater?
No,
It was
it-
already built?
Yeah, it was already an existing theater. It had been a theater for about 50 or 60 years.
Oh,
Prior
wow.
to that, it was a rental house, and we came in, and it was for sale. And Deborah and I walked in and stood on the stage and just looked around and said, this is it. This just feels right, you know.
And so you bought the
So
building?
then we
You bought
we acquired the building outright in 1990, which was like the smartest thing we ever did.
Really?
And then we kind of plugged in the phones and got a couple of desks, and she and I were just sitting there alone in this empty building and saying, like, what do we do now? Oh my God. And now 26 years later, you know, we have thousands of subscribers, and we're a very highly respected intimate theater in LA.
The thing about 26 is your neighborhood's been shifting and changing, and you've been very inclusive of the neighborhood and the changes. How does that happen?
Well,
How did it start and where did it go?
Well, it really is at the core of our artistic mission, which is to serve communities that reflect the diversity of Los Angeles.
and that's it.
It is.
You've got it all in your theater, right?
Exactly, we really do. I mean, in the neighboring high school, there are 32 different languages spoken at a nearby high school. So we're incredibly diverse, and that's our programming at the Fountain reflects that. We always sit around the table every year and talk about the kind of work that we want to do based on what community needs to be served.
Oh, do you change the community?
Yes,
Each year you do a different, because I know you did Armenian plays.
Right, Armenian community, the deaf community, the black community, the Asian community. We
And
recently
now you're
did
doing the Chicano.
Right now we have a Latino Hispanic
Right.
a play called My Manana Comes, which is a new play out of New York. This is the Los Angeles premiere.
Oh, I see. It's
And-
out of New York.
Yeah, and we're presenting the LA premiere.
So let's talk a little bit about My Manana Comes
Sure.
from New York.
Sure.
And how do you acquire something like that? How do you decide?
Well, I read about it. I was looking for a piece of theater that was...
For the community?
Yeah.
To
that
serve
would-
the community?
Yeah, to reach out to the Latino community in Los Angeles. And because of what's going on politically right now, I was really interested in finding something that was about immigration
very
and labor rights. And that's what this play is. It's a very
So
funny...
what is it, My Tomorrow Comes?
Yeah, My Tomorrow Comes. And it takes place in a restaurant, in a kitchen, in a high-end fancy restaurant.
These three guys?
Yeah, so it's while we're all in the dining room eating our food, the play is about what happens in the kitchen.
I see.
And it's about these four busboys.
Oh, four of them, right?
Yeah, in the kitchen of this very fancy restaurant. 3 are Mexican, 1 is African American. And it's about them hustling in plates and dishes and complaining about the customers and getting out the
it's
food.
so great.
Yeah, and also it's about their friendship, but then it takes a turn and begins to be about the hierarchy between them, jostling for position,
really?
for authority. And then when management kind of puts its foot down and makes a move, it's really about survival on who's going to stay and who's going to go. And so it starts very funny and takes a very serious turn and makes a very important point.
Who wrote it?
Her name is Elizabeth Irwin, and she's sort of an up-and-coming female playwright.
And then do you cast it here, or
Yeah.
do you get the cast from New York?
No, we cast it all with local Los Angeles actors.
And you have plays from the Fountain that have gone to different places. Is there a circle in the theater, or is there owners or producers that trade shows back and forth? Like you're getting My Mañana Comes. Would you send something to that theater?
Possibly. Actually, My Mañana Comes was produced recently down in San Diego. So I went down and saw it there.
I see.
We are part of an organization, the Fountain Theater is, called the National New Play Network, which is this big organization nationwide. It's theaters that swap plays and scripts and say, hey, we've got a hit show here. You need to read this script.
Oh, I see. That's what I wondered.
Yeah,
You do
so
that, and is it always productive?
It often is. It often is. Yeah, we link up multiple productions where a play will start in New York, come to Los Angeles.
Oh, you do that too?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's like an art show, getting 2 or 3 museums to go in. For
Partner up. Right, exactly. It's really just what it says, a network. It's a network of theaters that are dedicated to producing new plays and how we can help each other work together. But a lot of plays that have been created at the Fountain have gone on and been produced nationwide and around the world.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because it's gone to New York, Chicago, Scotland, Minnesota. And how do those people find you? The same way?
The same way, and depending on the project, I mean, there are all kinds of different scenarios. A recent play of ours that I wrote and was recently produced in London on the West End.
My favorite play, Bakersfield Miss.
That's right.
You wrote it.
That's
I
right.
love that play. and I saw it here, and I interviewed the people who were in it, Jenny and
Nick.
Nick.
All
But then you had this really super cast in London, Kathleen
Turner and Ian McDermott.
It's pretty cool,
Yeah,
right?
oh, it was amazing.
Did you go?
I
Did you direct it?
I didn't direct it, but I was there, and what a remarkable experience.
And it ran a long time.
Yeah, it ran for 3 months, all summer there, and now it's been translated into other languages and is being produced around the world and around the country. In fact, next week I'm going to the Olney Theater in Baltimore, where it's opening there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So tell us the story about Bakersfield Miss, because I remember reading it.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. It's about this real woman who...
This real woman.
This actual woman who's kind of this eccentric, wacky lady who was kind of a dumpster diver in a thrift store woman who lived in a trailer park, and she came upon a painting in a thrift store, which she bought for $3 as a joke, and then became convinced that it was actually a masterpiece by Jackson Pollock worth millions of dollars. And of course the art world said, you're crazy, it's not at all. But she was determined that it was real. And the play is about what happens when a fancy art expert from New York City arrives at her trailer park to appraise her painting and let her know whether it's real or not. And it's really a very funny...
It just breaks down into so many layers.
Exactly.
Because she makes him lose his heirs, doesn't she?
Exactly. Yeah.
And he comes down to...
Right. I mean, there are two people from complete opposite ends of the social and economic universe coming together.
Right. How did you write it? How long did it take you to write it?
I guess about 2 years, off and on.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. And then we developed it at the Fountain, and it opened there. It was very successful and ran for almost 7 months.
And then you're going to open with my friend Karen Kardashian, Baby Doll.
Right.
Tell us quickly about that.
Well, this is really, really exciting. I mean, this is like going to the premiere of a new play by Tennessee Williams. Baby Doll, you may remember, was this very taboo-shattering, controversial film. Yeah, back in the late 1950s. Yeah, by Tennessee Williams. It was a movie. And so what happened is now, more than 40 years later, for the first time, it's been turned into a play. And it was originally done at the McCarter Theater in Princeton by Emily Mann, who runs the McCarter.
So does she rewrite it? Who
Yes. She adapted it with another gentleman and turned Tennessee's script into a play.
I see.
And it opened there just recently and did very well. It's a very steamy, risque piece.
So what part would Karen be playing?
She's playing an older woman who is her aunt. The story of the play, it's only 4 characters. The story of the movie and the play is about this young woman, this young girl who's called Baby Doll, and she's about to turn 20 years old. And she's married to this kind of older guy, and the arrangement of their marriage is that he cannot touch her until she turns 20.
Thank you, Stephen. So we'll all have to come and see that. And don't go away. We have the founder of Little Lee Pictures on next, and her name is Amberlee Colson. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. You know, we're taping here at the Hollywood Museum in the heart of Hollywood. And our guest, actress, writer, producer, Amberlee Colson, grew up in Orange County. She graduated from Loyola Marymount University, studied at New York's Atlantic Theater Company, and is a member of Actor Work Theater. You've seen her in several films, including Love Shack, Good Things, and Always Worthy. So, was Orange County conducive to acting?
You know, it was.
It was?
Well, it was because it got me into musical theater.
Oh, that's what I hear.
Yes. That was my first dream, was New York and Broadway and singing and dancing and all that stuff. And my vocal cords were just not going to be a singer. So I went to LA. I ended up doing LA instead, and I got really severe into the acting world instead.
You got into the acting world instead of singing and dancing? Do you still sing and dance?
I do, in the shower for sure.
Yeah, no fair.
No, I do. I started actually taking lessons again just because I missed it more for myself.
But is there any kind of acting in your family?
No.
Nothing.
I'm the beginning.
Oh, well, that's good. So, did you take drama at Loyola Marymount?
You know what? I did. I got communications degree.
Oh, of course.
And that was always the safe. And my parents really wanted me to go to college. And right when I came to LA, I met this man named Stephen Anderson, who started the Actors Work Theater in LA.
So you went there before, after Loyola?
At the same time.
Oh, at the same
so I was
time.
kind of studying and mining comedy while I was getting my degree in communications. And in hindsight, it was just everything I needed to kind of develop a work ethic for writing a screenplay.
So it was really good. Is it
Yes.
right here in Hollywood?
Actors Work?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I meant going to school and getting a communications degree. I had to write so much, and I didn't know. And so just the work ethic of writing.
Could you use any of that writing when you were studying? I mean,
no,
with the acting?
no. It was more just the discipline of being able to sit down and write. And
So then how did you get to New York?
so I was studying LA. I was starting to write a one-woman show at that time. And it was freaking me out to be on stage for 90 minutes by myself.
I know, I always say, how can somebody do that? And they go, well, you're not an actor. We love to be there in front of the audience.
Yeah, that's not me. No, I knew I needed to do it just as I needed to just go through that fear.
So did it start here?
So it started here. Stephen Anderson was my acting coach at the time, and he was really into being proactive. And so he was the first person that said, go do what you want to do. Don't wait for someone to give you the perfect role and the perfect script. And so...
so it was Big Hair?
So it was called Big Hair. I don't know. I brought a little bit with me today.
Your one-woman show.
My one-woman show, which became the film Always Worthy. But yeah, so I started writing it, and I took a break. I went to New York, and I studied at the Atlantic Theater Company. Mainly, Mariana Palka, who directed the film, and Jason Ritter had raved about just studying there, and they were in New York for school. So I just kind of immersed myself in there.
So that was the connection all the way around to get to the film. But before we get to the film, let's talk about Big Hair. You did it at the Meta Theater. How long did it take you to write it?
It took about, I improv'd a lot. So I feel like I'm an actor first, so I improvised and I put it up, I workshopped it a lot, and I just would get either people are laughing or they're not laughing. It's working, it's not working. So I did that for probably 8 months, and then
And where were those? In different theaters and homes?
No, I mostly did it in the Valley at North Hollywood at a theater called The Secret Rose, and then I did a preview in April. We did the preview in 2010 for Big Hair, and I survived.
So tell me about Big Hair. Let's start with that, because it was all about you.
It was all, yeah.
Yeah, write about what you know, right?
Right. I fabricated a lot, but I definitely, the main character just embarrasses herself a lot, and I know you've seen the film, but the one-woman show had a very similar 90-minute arc.
And then how did you find a director for it?
So I was studying with Stephen Anderson, who is the one I told you. Yeah, so he directed that show, and we worked together a lot in the workshopping phase.
And the costuming for that?
I did that.
You did it.
I did that.
And the big hair?
I wore a phony pony just like in the movie. So and her hair in the one-woman show and in the film is sort of, you know, one of her masks that she wears.
So we talk about Big Hair, and it's funny because when I introduced you, I said you've been in Love Shack, Good Things, Always Worthy, 2-word titles.
Yeah, and good, yeah.
So I thought,
those.
like, why did it change? Big Hair,
Big
same
Hair,
thing.
Always Worthy is
And
the
then
same.
how did it change from Big Hair into Always Worthy, and what was the process?
So I did the one-woman show, and like I said, I really, as an actor, it was like on the bucket list, even though it terrified me. And it was so great to write. And then I got it just went over really well. I got a lot of good feedback, and all I wanted to do was make people laugh and cry in 90 minutes. I thought if I could do that, that would be a really good accomplishment.
And you were the only one doing it, laughing and crying. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. A lot of quiet audience. So I did that, and I got a lot of good feedback, and producers approached me, and just people would ask, like, have you thought of doing this as a film? And I had. I mean, that was like the dream, but I just didn't know where to begin, and luckily I had been watching at the same time. Mariana Palka, who directed Always Worthy, had made Good Dick, her first feature film.
Oh, that was her first film, I see.
I did do a movie called Good Things.
Good Dick, another
Good
one
Dick,
too.
with Jason Ritter, yeah. So she had successfully written that, produced it, directed it, and she starred in it. So there was this idea that it existed, that I saw someone very close to me do that. And so that was really important when I went into the script phase, is I just believed that I could do it.
So did you write it all and
I
then
did.
go to Mariana Palka
I
to
did.
direct it?
You
did?
I did. I wrote it. I did a lot of like stage readings again. That just really helps me hearing it out loud, and I think I organically create from an actor's mindset, so I always would use those opportunities. But yeah, I wrote it, and then I presented it to her, and I said,
and then she took it?
She took it, and she said yes. And really, after she said yes, we really, we financed a lot through Kickstarter.
I was going to ask you about Kickstarter. How did that happen? How does that happen? What do you do?
So you basically put your heart out there and you hope people want to support you. Kickstarter actually that's when like a lot of people were going to Kickstarter and making films. It was just a really great platform. And so she had just used it, and we were kind of trying.
She used it for one of her films, so she knew she could use it again?
Yeah, and we had been talking, and so we were trying to do the typical Hollywood route and try to raise money in private and ask anyone, everyone, and it just was hard, and then you have to lose your creative freedom a little bit. So we just were like, let's just see what happens. And we did a Kickstarter campaign, and we raised a good chunk of money to kind of get us filming. That just got us.
So you started. Okay, so then how did you cast it?
So luckily,
because a one-woman show is one woman, and you played a lot of different roles, though, right?
You know what? In the one-woman show, I still played Jules, and then I had like these devices, like she had a voicemail machine that her mom would call. Right. So you got to hear the characters through her voicemail, so you got to see Jules interact with.
Right. So now you have these characters, so you have a lot of people there.
Yes. Yeah. You know, it was a lot of 6 Degrees of Mariana. She would pitch people, and then we would. And then we would just reach out to people, and then their agents would recommend someone else, and it kind of was this very wonderful family that came together. And
because they knew there was no money.
There was no money. It was a lot of hugs, a lot of thank yous. No, it was huge. Everyone really came on board. So
the cast came about. Tell us the cast, because it's a great cast.
It's a great cast, and I need to start with Sarah Lynn, who you met. Sarah Lynn Critchlow and Mitch Yapko produced the film, and were the engine the whole
So
time.
how did they come on board? Does Mariana find them?
So they both worked on Good Dick. We all did Good Dick together.
I see,
Yeah.
I see.
So we reached out to Sarah Lynn, and she knew Mitch, and we were like, oh yeah, Mitch from Good Dick. So we all came together, and Sarah Lynn had just done. We're all such a family affair. Sarah Lynn had just done her own directorial debut for a film called Pantsuits that Mitch was on. So we all just kept staying together, and it was great. We have Jason Ritter in the film. Lucas Haas plays.
Where did Lucas come from?
Lucas came from Rain. Rain Phoenix jumped on board and was a huge. She's such an advocate for women, and she was like, "Let me talk to my friend Lucas." And so it really everyone.
Because it is a woman's oriented play. So that's what I'm trying to get to the women, except for Lucas and Jason.
Lucas and Jason and Eric Edelstein, and then we have Nancy Morgan as my mom, and Mariana's in the film as well. She has a great cameo. We also have Jillian Zinser and Robin Kruger and Sue-Ann Spoke. And then Mariana directed it, so it's a female.
So a woman director,
and our DP,
which
Vanessa
is great.
Menounos, was a female. And we had
And the editor.
And the editor, yeah, Marissa. And we had like our makeup department and our production designer.
So
I mean,
it was
just
great.
You would have won. Yeah, the men were in good company on this.
And how did they like that?
We had good men, so they know how to pick good women, so they liked us around.
They were very supportive.
They were
I know.
very
I heard it.
supportive.
So then once it gets made, how long did it take?
We were good. I mean, we finished shooting and we screened it at the Newport Beach Film Festival exactly a year after.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it took how many days? Because you were on location?
15.
Only 15.
15 days.
And you didn't have any, no permits, but they were. But
We had permits.
Did you have some permits? Yeah. Where did you film?
So we did one day in the OC,
Yeah.
bringing back the Orange County. One of my girlfriends is a nurse, and she got us a hospital space. I mean, it was
The hospital
was great, right?
And what'd you do? Just rush in and rush out?
Yes, we did it in one day. We got everything done in one day. And then we're mostly in like West Los Angeles. We did a great. Oh, you would appreciate America Martin.
Oh,
you know her work?
Oh, yeah.
We went to her studio. That's where Jules' mom's. Jules'
so you
mom's
used
an
her
artist.
studio.
We used her studio, so we were in
Painter, right?
We were there for a day, which felt like being a little bit like right here.
Which is our painting
Yeah.
by Nelson Loskamp.
Oh.
Another kind of family affair. Great. He's been in our family for a long time. But it started winning awards. You started going to festivals.
Yes. We Newport Beach was our premiere, our world premiere, and we got a standing ovation, which was so nice because we hadn't shown anyone. We had all watched the film so many times, like the editor. We were all like, we were just talking like. We knew all the lines. So you just lose if it has whatever it is. And then so we screened it at Newport, and it was such a warm welcome. And they gave us an extra screening. We got like Outstanding Achievement Award at that festival.
And so that's how you started.
Yeah,
Now you need it out, right?
Well, it's out on iTunes.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So go see it on iTunes.
Have you done any theater other than that?
Other than my one-woman show, no.
And I think that I love that you started to talk about the piece you wore in your hair, but it is so horrible. Talk about it a little bit.
Horrible.
It is pretty horrible.
It's horrible. It's
because
horrible.
it's like you just plopped a hat on, but it's hair.
No, it's hair.
Where'd you get that?
I want to say that I think that might be from Orange County.
Okay.
It might have.
You mean someone could have worn it, or someone would wear that?
It might have been me. I feel like I had one. Yeah, hair pieces. But the phony pony, it was always. I wanted Jules to. The main character of the film is called. Her name's Jules, and she hides a lot. Like she has all her masks because the movie's really about her finding herself and being true to herself.
And that's why you changed it from big hair to all.
To Always Worthy. Big hair. Yeah, Always Worthy, I think, hit a little bit more of some of like the notes that that happen at the end of the
Always
film.
Worthy, and I was going like almost worthy. She's almost.
She's so close, but she's just she keeps missing the boat.
Okay, so we heard about the hair. We heard about Always
Worthy? Always.
Always.
You're always worthy.
Always.
Always worthy. You just have to figure it
Amberlee,
out.
thank you so much. You
Thank
were
you
just
so
great
much.
on the screen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And thanks for being with us today. Write to JAQUINN1 at AOL.com. See you next time.